Namo Buddhaya. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our day-long retreat honoring the Parinibbana of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami and the Courageous 500. So we'll begin with just a little bit of meditation, quiet time together as we settle and reset from whatever we may have been doing this past time. Maybe you've already been meditating, but if not, just coming back and taking a few minutes together in silence. Welcome. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. Oh. Beginning with a verse from the Therigatha of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami. See my followers united, vigorously energetic, constantly firm in their effort. That is worship of the Buddhas. So appreciating sitting with all of you for the last few minutes, all of us together, united, firm in our efforts. So welcome to all. I think I know most of you on the Zoom here, but just in case, I am Bhikkhuni Kaccayana. I'm here in the room with Ayya Sobhana, who has kindly invited me to lead this afternoon's program. You also hear Ayya Brahmavara, happy to see you, Ayya. And those at the Hermitage, see Seminary Tavira, and special guest, Venerable Dhammanusari. Happy to see you, Venerable. And we'll have you speak a little bit later, I think, if you're here. I'd also like to acknowledge our founding abbess, Ayya Tataloka, who is not here on the Zoom, but I suspect she may be watching on the YouTube. And I'd like to acknowledge that she's the source of a lot of what I would like to share with you today, or at least the one who shared it first with me and us here. So appreciation to her as well. So today, again, is our day to commemorate the Parinibbana of Mahapajapati Gotami Teri and the courageous 500 Shakyan women who became Bhikkhunis and Arahants and who had their Parinibbana together with her. So part of our commemoration is this practice together. This is how we honor the Buddha and honor them, inspired by them, to do our own work in the path. We also commemorate by hearing the stories. So earlier this morning, we heard the story of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami from Venerable Bhikkhuni Shakya Dhammadinna, shared with us her story and that of the 500 women with her. And we reflected upon her qualities and how they can inspire us in our lives today. And this afternoon, I want to talk with you a little bit about another form of commemoration, which is the form of, well, stupas and pilgrimage and sort of this physical aspect of commemoration, where we go to the places or recognize the places where these great events that we've heard about in the stories have happened. So to start, some pictures for you. So at Aranya Bodhi Hermitage, we have a stupa. And when I stay at the Hermitage, often, visitors come and they need a little tour around and I take them up to the stupa. And depending on what their background and experience has been, one of the questions I often actually get is, what is a stupa? And let me just share screen here. Okay. Are you able to see that? Okay, so this is our Aranya Bodhi Stupa. It's up on the hillside. It's a place where we go sometimes for meditation or a Dhamma talk on the full moon night when the weather is lovely. Go up there for circumambulation sometimes. And so this is our quite small stupa there. Got some photos of other stupas that I have personally visited. A few years ago, I went to Bodh Gaya with Ayataloka, and here we visited a stupa that was commemorating the site of the village of Sujata, the laywoman who offered the first, well, not the first meal, the last meal, the milk rice that powered the Buddha to his enlightenment. And so this is another style of stupa. You can see it in the background. You can't see the whole thing. It's very large, much bigger than our little one at the Hermitage. On that same trip, we also went to Nepal and visited the Charimati Stupa in Kathmandu. This commemorates the Venerable Bhikkhuni Charumati, another daughter of Emperor Ashoka, who went to Nepal as a Dhamma missionary. And this stupa there is in remembrance of her. And I didn't quite finish my slideshow. I was going to give you a couple more pictures, but I realized I didn't quite get them in there. Anyway, I just wanted to show a few different examples of these different kinds of stupas. And I know that you've probably seen many others across the Buddhist world. They come in all sizes and shapes, called stupa or jetya, jeti, pagoda, dagoba, different shapes, different sizes, different styles, but they're sort of pervasive in one form or another across the Buddhist world. And so then this question, what is a stupa? What is it for? I'm going to give you the answer from the sutta. What does the Buddha say about the stupa? Here from the screen arranged. All right. So this is from the Parinibbana Sutta, Digha Nikaya 16. And it's a very long sutta. But here the Buddha is talking about stupas, translated here as monument. The Pali word here is tupa. Ananda, the Buddha says, these four are worthy of a monument. What for? A realized one, a perfected one, a fully awakened Buddha. That's all one person. An independent Buddha, Pacceka Buddha. A disciple of a realized one. And a wheel-turning monarch. And for what reason is a realized one worthy of a monument? So that many people will inspire confidence in their hearts, thinking, this is the monument for that blessed one, perfected and fully awakened. And having done so, that is, having rejoiced, having had confidence inspired, when their body breaks up after death, they are reborn in a good place, a heavenly realm. It is for this reason that a realized one is worthy of a monument. And for what reason is an independent Buddha worthy of a monument? Again, so that many people will inspire confidence in their hearts, thinking this is that monument for that independent Buddha. For the same reason, a realized one's disciple is worthy of a monument, so that many people will inspire confidence in their hearts, thinking this is the monument for that blessed one's disciple. And also for a wheel-turning monarch. They're worthy of a monument so that many people will inspire confidence in their hearts, thinking, this is the monument for that just and principled king. And having done so, when their body breaks up after death, they are reborn in a good place, a heavenly realm. It is for this reason that a wheel-turning monarch is worthy of a monument. These four are worthy of a monument. And again, the word here is stupa. So in its origins, the stupa is a funeral mound, a monument, a memorial, usually built on the place of a cremation of a great being of some sort. And for what reason? So that people can see, so that they can remember, so that they can have confidence inspired in their hearts by looking upon this. And one of those four mentioned is the disciple of the Buddha, which would include Mahāpajāpatī Gotami, the great Arahant Bhikkhuni, as a disciple of the Buddha, worthy of a monument, so that we may feel inspired. And let me share a screen again. Another section from this same sutta, just a little bit before. Persons worthy of a monument. And also inspiring places. So the Buddha mentioned, Ananda mentions, he knows that the Buddha is about to pass away, and he wants to know, well, what should we do then? And he has a lot of questions about that. This is one of his questions. He says, previously, sir, when mendicants had completed the rainy season residence in various districts, they came to see the realized one. We got to see the esteemed mendicants and to pay homage to them. But when the Buddha has passed, we won't get to see the esteemed mendicants or to pay homage to them. So the Buddha's reply is that, well, it's true you won't have that chance, but Ananda, a faithful gentleman, should go to see these four inspiring places. What for? Thinking, here the realized one was born. That is an inspiring place. Here the realized one became awakened as a supreme fully awakened Buddha. Here the supreme wheel of Dhamma was rolled forth by the realized one. Here the realized one became fully extinguished in the element of extinguishment with nothing left over. That is, he had his Parinibbana. That is an inspiring place. So these are the four inspiring places that a faithful gentleman should go to see. Faithful monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen will come and think, here the realized one was born, became awakened as a supreme fully awakened Buddha. The supreme wheel of Dhamma was rolled forth by the realized one, and the realized one became fully extinguished in the element of extinguishment with nothing left over. Anyone who passes away while on pilgrimage to these shrines will, when their body breaks up after death, be reborn in a good place, a heavenly realm. So this is speaking particularly about the realized one, the Buddha, the Tathagata, but I think likewise we can be inspired by the places associated with his disciples, especially, Mahāpajāpatī Gotami as one of the foremost of his disciples, the great leader among the Bhikkhunī Sangha. And so we can think of the place of her Parinibbana and wish to be able to honor that as a way of being close to her. So I'm going to take you in a minute on a virtual pilgrimage. Here, we've got some video to share with you. First, I want you to bring to mind again this story of her passing away, of all the amazing, great events that happened at that time. Well, that she decided that it would be her time to pass away. She made the announcement, and the other 500 bhikkhunis who had gone forth with her the 40 years before, who had practiced together with her for 40 years, with her as the senior, they all decided to go with her They were all fully awakened arahants, ready to go out into their full, complete, final awakening. In the story we hear of the devas in the temple feeling sad about this, various laywomen on the street also weeping in distress. And we can feel for them. You know, I think about, well, my own elders, our own elders here in the Sangha. And when someone great like that passes away, you know, it's a big event. It has ripples. You know, we can think a couple of years ago that Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh passed away, and I know that had many ripples for many people when a great being goes out like that. And so here, this is not only one great being, the foremost of the bhikkhunis in seniority, but 500, the 500 most senior bhikkhunis in the world, all at once, going out. And what a big thing that would be. So we can feel, oh no, what now if we're left behind when those 500 great ones, 501, have left us behind. But, you know, she herself tells them, you know, don't be sad. This is your time for joy. This is my time for joy. This is the promise of the path, that it leads to this result, that it's possible to go out in this way that's free and bright and uplifting and joyful. And, you know, you get to see not just one, but 501 of us demonstrate that great promise all at once. So this is a time for joy. She asks the Buddha's permission. He gives it. He invites her to demonstrate great miracles. So we can imagine this is a large gathering, 500 bhikkhunis and how many others with the Buddha, the great field of arahants sitting there with Mahāpajāpatī soaring through the air and performing all these miracles, and then the other 500 as well. And then they're passing away together. And then the cremation and the flowers coming down from the sky. And after the cremation, then there's this very beautiful eulogy that the Buddha himself gives in honor of his mother, foster mother, his aunt, but the one who raised him. I think you may have read this before, but I just want to review it again. It's a very beautiful what the Buddha is saying for her. Let me share the screen one more time. Okay. So this is from the Mahāpajāpatī Gotami Therigatha, her heroic biography in the Khuddaka Nikaya. Ananda, urged by the Buddha, placed Gotamī's sacred relics, that is her ashes and whatever other material was left from the body, placed her relics in the begging bowl at that time and presented them to the Lord. Taking them up with both his hands, the seventh sage, the Buddha said, just as the trunk of a standing, gigantic, timber-bearing tree, impermanent, breaks into bits, however massive it may be, so Gotamī, who was a nun, has reached her final nirvana. Oh, it is a marvelous thing. My mother, who's reached nirvana, leaving only relics behind, did not grieve and was not wailing. Grieving not for others left, she's crossed the sea of existence, she's cooled, she's in nirvana, her torment now is avoided. Know this about her, O you monks, she was a very wise woman, with wisdom which was vast and wide, distinguished among Buddhist nuns. She'd mastered the superpower called the divine ear element. Gotamī was a master of the knowledge stored in others' hearts. She remembered her former lives. Her divine eye was purified. All the defilements were destroyed. She will not be reborn again. She had purified her knowledge of meaning and of the teaching, etymology and preaching. Because of that, she did not grieve. A rod of iron that's beaten when it's glowing due to fire slowly cools off, leaving no ash. Like that, it's not known where she went. No rebirth place can be discerned of the truly liberated who crossed the flood of lustful bonds, who've reached unshaking happiness. Therefore be lamps unto yourselves, graze in the field of mindfulness. With wisdom 7 parts attained, you should all end your suffering. So I think it's this verse here I find moving, remembering that this is the Buddha's mother. And when the parents have passed, isn't this what we would wish for them? That they should be free. They should be able to go without wailing, without grieving, knowing that they've done what was needed. This is really the greatest thing that we could wish for our parent or for anyone. And so, the movingness of that and the joy of that the Buddha could say, yes, my mother was able to be free, to go without grief. And what marvelous thing that is. So I share that to remind you what was the scene at the time of the Buddha. And now I'm going to give you a little glimpse into the scene today with our video pilgrimage. This video comes from our friend Asika Dr. Malai Uch, and it's video from her pilgrimage with 4 bhikkhunis whom some of you may know, this past December. So those who've been around us for a while may remember this past Vasa. We had these 4 visiting bhikkhunis with us, the 4 Cambodian or Khmer heritage bhikkhunis, the only 4 in the world so far at the moment. So we have Ayametta Jivi, Venerable Sadha, Venerable Dhammanusari, who's here with us on Zoom today, I think. And also Venerable Jitindra Bhikkhuni. They were with us for this last Vasa. They entered the Vasa at Aranyabodhi Hermitage. And it was really wonderful to be able to have them all together as a group and to have that time together. And then after they left us, they stayed together as a group and went on pilgrimage in India. So first going to the International Tipitaka chanting in Bodh Gaya, and then traveling around and seeing some places associated with the life of the Buddha and the disciples, including Mahāpajāpatī Gotami. Now her shrine is not well known. It's a little bit off the beaten path, as you'll see. And I'll talk a little bit more about it after, like what do we know about this place after we show the video. Yeah, well, I was going to invite after the video for Venerable Dhammanusari afterwards might share a few words about her experience. But would you like to say anything now? Like to just, could we see you for a moment, Venerable? Here you are. Greetings, happy to see you. Okay, so I'm going to play the video, which you will recognize since you were there. And afterwards, I might ask you a little bit about what was your experience of that pilgrimage and what was important and interesting to you about it. What did you learn? But we'll play the video first. This is, so I've taken Malai's video and shortened it a little bit, but it's about 12 minutes. And I like it a lot. It's quite meditative, actually. So let me get that going. Make sure it's going to have. Try that again.
Hello, good afternoon. Today is December 13, 2023. We're going to the tree where the place of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami's enter Nirvana, along with 500 Bhikkhunis. So the field is filled with water. So we're fortunate there's a canoe here, came and allow us to go there, as you can see. So this is a miracle. We thought we were not able to go, and now we are on our way to the tree. And such an adventure on a canoe. How about that? We thought we were not going to make it, so thank you. Thank you, whoever helped us with this canoe. So we're on our way to that tree. Things have changed since last year that we were here. So appreciate every moment, every opportunity that is given to us to able to experience or to connect with the ancient Bhikkhunis to the modern Bhikkhunis. In Bulgaria, we were connected with Indian Bhikkhunis. We had we chanted the Patamokkha, Bhikkhuni Patamokkha with Bhikkhuni Sangha and Indian Sangha. How about that? Under the Bodhi tree. That was historical, and now we're here. So calm. The water is so calm. Ow, 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 ow. Okay. Oh my goodness, look, look. Oh. This is amazing. No. So we're going to see that tree. We didn't expect this, so this is even better than we expected. We go to Mahāpajāpati's resting place, where a canoe. So the tree is not buried in water, so it's above, it's a hill, it's above the water, as you can see. This is amazing. Amazing. I can see the bottom of the water. This is beyond miracle. Huh? This is beyond miracle. Look at how calm the water is. Can you imagine over 2,500 years ago, Mahāpajāpatī Gotami went to Nirvana with 500. Like there's like oh my God, this is big water. That's even bigger. This is... Oh, ní tật nó chưa như cái này nè. Yes. So here we go, the tree. We're coming. We're coming to you. This is amazing. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you for making this happen for us. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, you want the flower? Thank you so much, so much, so much. Okay, okay, okay. Please wait for us. Please wait for us. 10 minutes? 10 minutes? Oh, no, no, 10 minutes. Wait. Okay, so we're here.
นามาสลายยังยามาสมาโนรัตนาตยังยังปัญญาปิสันแตงวิปลังอาลาทังตาสานุเพียวิเนอาตัมตาไรยาพรมสมเนมาสกาเลขันตาเสริไสนี่โยมชนนี่คือแสดงหายเอาลูกชนตรงนั้นไปชนอะไรนั่นก็บ้านไหนยิ่งทอดออกไปทอดตรงเอาปูปีตัวนั่งไงยังไปเกี่ยใส่ตามนั่นแต่อ๋อมัดcáiบ้านก่อนนะนี่บ้านบ้านนี้
ना ले लियो अभी जाके फोटो खींची चली ना ना आज के दिन मत
Okay. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I'd like to tell you a little bit about what is this site before we hear a little more from Venerable Dhammanusari. So, as you can see, it doesn't look like much right now. There's just a tree in the middle of a field, flooded with water at that particular time. But there's that mound that the tree is growing on. And this has been identified as a probable location of the Parinibbana of Mahapajapati Gotami and the Courageous 500 on the basis of records of an earlier pilgrim, the pilgrim Chinese monk scholar Xuanzang in the 7th century of the Common Area, so around 700. He came from China and he visited all the holy sites of India and recorded them in amazing detail. At that time, there was still living, thriving Buddhist traditions of where were all these great events that happened in the suttas. And he was able to record where they were. And we have those records today. And there's a researcher in India today called Deepak Anand. I had the good fortune to meet him on that trip to India. I showed you the pictures earlier. With Ayatoloka, Deepak was our guide, and he showed us around some of these lesser known sites that he has been identifying based on the records of Xuanzang, combined with his sort of explorations of the area and the archaeological records there. So I'll share screen again here. Deepak Anand has a blog where he writes up his researches and what he's found out. So where did Mahāpajāpatī Gotami attain Parinibbana? Right here with the story about her. This is a Chinese illustration of her, of the cremation. You can see. So where did she attain Parinibbana? Xuanzang said that when he went to Vesali, the place was 3 or 4 li northeast of the Samatya monastery. Where she attained nirvana was a village at the time of the Buddha, where Vimalakirti and Ambapali, the courtesan, lived. It was at Ambapali's place that Mahāpajāpatī and the 500 bhikkhunis attained nirvana. And Xuanzang, when he was there, he saw stupas that marked the dwellings of Vimalakirti and Ambapali. So then we know, based on other sites around Vesali, where were some of these things, and then from Xuanzang's descriptions, we're able to sort of at least know where to start looking for the other sites. There's the map here. This site 1, 3, and 4 are known today. And then based on Xuanzang's descriptions, we can guess based on these, where are the others? So I guess where's the Samatya monastery? And then where would be the nirvana of Mahāpajāpatī? And it turns out that this 3 or 4 leagues northeast is coming up on what is a present-day village called Birdapur. And then, so Deepak went and investigated that village, spoke with the elders, and saw that there were ancient mounds in that area. And the villagers say that actually there used to be more mounds, that some of them were removed when a newly constructed railway came through. But during the removal, they found archaeological remains, pottery, ring wells, and they could trace some of the pottery back to the era of the Buddha. It's the type that they had at that time, northern black polished ware. And, these mounds, they think may have been stupas. And they've just become covered over at this time. So it's in about the right place. It has these ancient mounds. It has potsherds from the time that would have overlapped with the Buddha. So it's circumstantial evidence, it's not certain, but this is an educated guess about where was it that Mahāpajāpatī attained her Parinibbana. Some of the potsherds. A few of the other ancient mounds. This is Deepak speaking with the village elders. So, based on that research, they have tentatively identified this area as about as close as we can get to what would have been the place. So, let me pause there. Venerable Dhammanusari, you were there. Can you tell us about it? I think you'll need to unmute. Can you unmute yourself, Venerable?
Namo Buddhaya, greeting to all Mahasangha and to everyone. As you know, my name already, Dhammanusari, who ordained on September 11, 2022 at the monastery Dhammadinna. Yes, today is our anniversary of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami, which is it's a great things that I'm able to speak for a few minutes, and I am willing to share the part that when I was there, it was early morning that we wake up from 3:30 a.m. and go to the bus driver. It's, as you know, the traffic in there is very bad, and the bus was driving like you can see everything in front of the bus. So we try to close the eyes. Some of them try to lie down as Dr. Malai, but the bus was shaking and all the whole body just pumping up. Even my head bumped a few times to the top of the car. And for that while we have lost and we wasn't clear. And for me, because the first time that I did not know about the place, and the four of us Bhikkhuni, which is only Venerable Chutindara and New Malai, who have been there the last time. So they try to searching for a place. So we've been lost, go up and down, go up and down. Then we decide to take the first, like only one lunch on the bus, and then there's a food was explodes everything on the bus too. And by the time I was reaching that place that they said this is the place, I am quite silent. In my heart was like beating, is wondering, is it the right place? And what she said that before it wasn't have the water, everything's. But the moment of that silence of myself, I spoke and I touched the land. You can see why the Venerable Chutindara was decide to sit down, because first we want to sit, but then we start to see the Bhikkhuni, the other one not sit. So I was between, I don't know what to do, just follow up. But that moment, I can feel all of four of us perhaps have the same feeling of somehow, perhaps, I don't know the word to say, but it's the Parami of the Mahāpajāpatī who have practiced and allow us who walk, follow her path by make our decision, especially as we are a Cambodian woman who walking in this part, which is we receive much more from our community, our country, that we are not exist, Bhikkhuni, we not exist, but we just continue our part. And as you know, as my English not very well also, but by practicing the follow her path, it just learn to be let go and stay calm as possible based on the situation I have. So reaching that place, I start to see around first, which is the film doesn't show us where we walk around, until I start to see there's a post about perhaps 5 or 7 meters around the tree. And then I start to believe, yes, they probably they make something to keep it for the future, to how you say the word that they're going to dig the research for that. So after that, then I keep say, and all of us, I believe, some of the feeling probably the same. Just keep say that for myself, I keep say that I walk to her path to let go and to study more this part, because I see have nothing that I feel that if I not come to this way, we are getting suffering for the life of this samsara. And I know our practice learn a little bit slowly to continue this part. But until today or a night before, last night I will not sleep because I'm trying to read all the slide you just put in. So it made me get up like 2:30 tonight just to read a little bit and tired a little bit and continue to meditate silent in my way. So this is the part that I feel deep more, that it's difficult for me to say, because like we can see everything have talked a lot, especially in my country. It looked like we haven't hear much about her story. It's just hearing about she went 3 times to get the permission. That's all I have heard. And not just as I can read right now, by they say even the 3rd time she decided to shave her hair and take the robe and go back again. And which is, I just knew that she haven't practiced 2 years. 2 years follow the 8 guru, and 2 years already before she went to ask the 3rd time. So this kind of that part I did not hear in myself or read across anything in Khmer. So if I say something wrong today, please forgive me. But very personal that I noticed that I have not read anything across to this one. So I did not prepare anything much to talk, but all I can say that we respect the Mahāpajāpatī Gotami lyrics and the Sakya 500 women that Parinibbana on that area. And so I blessing to all the Bhikkhuni and to lay people who practice the Dhamma, our Buddhists, follow the path of to get the Nibbana. So may everyone have a happy life and healthy. So I like to stop at this part. Thank you for letting me talk today.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Venerable. Appreciate what you shared. Yeah, wonderful to hear from you and to know the story a little more about how you got there and about how it felt to be there and the importance of that. I can feel that it, it's an important experience to be able to do such a thing. So I'm very happy that you had that experience and that you're able to share with us also. We appreciate.
Yes. Yeah, myself, I feel like something that I never expect, and then I able to get it like this. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, welcome. So at this point, I'd like to open up for any comments or questions. I suspect some others in this room may have also had experience of pilgrimage, or may have some feeling or question about what has been shared today. I welcome anyone who'd like to come in with anything like to share. Sobhana, would you like to share something? Yes, certainly. if Ayya Brahmavara or Ayya Savijana would like to begin, or Ayya Sobhana.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to say a few words, really just to express great gratitude. Ayya Dhammanusari, it's very beautiful to hear about your pilgrimage just a little bit. I'm sure there's a lot more that we could hear in the future. And it's just very touching to see the efforts that are made to get to, you know, very far-flung places, obscure, remote spots, but that do have, you know, every indication of being significant Buddhist sites, and not necessarily particularly acknowledged, you know. I remember going on pilgrimage to all the Buddhist sites and finding also the place where Ananda's Parinibbana is said to have occurred, which was also in an extremely inaccessible, difficult to reach place beside a river, in a very remote spot. And it was just so moving, so touching to go there, partly because of making the huge effort to get there and all the logistics and all the difficulties that entailed. And in that process, being able to recognize the heart that wishes to honor, you know, and pay homage to these great beings. And this is a very beautiful aspect of our humanity, right? So just to really take the inspiration and to be channeling our energies in these ways is so wholesome. And I do feel that having gone on pilgrimage myself, it was of great benefit, I would say life-changing experience. And to read the suttas that the Buddha was giving in the various places as we visited those places was incredibly inspiring, and gave a lot of power to the teachings, to be sitting, to be practicing in those places and reading the teachings, the depth somehow in which that we could take them in that way was very beautiful and very powerful for all of us who were on pilgrimage together. So I'm just remembering those things. I'm feeling really inspired and celebrating Venerable Dhammanusari, you and the other 3 first Cambodian bhikkhunis in this era, that you could have this experience, and also celebrating your very existence, my dear Venerable, and the other Cambodian venerables. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's very lovely. I wonder if there's anything, is Ayya Savijana there? Would you like to share anything? Don't have to, just want to invite. Maybe not. Anyone else like to? Yes, I'd be delighted to have Ayya Sobhana share a few words. It says you're connecting to audio. Let me mute myself, otherwise we'll get a.
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
I wanted to add to the magic of the actuality of finding, visiting, touching with our bodies, these places that happened during actual history, that are associated with the story, which is passed down to us about the early enlightened Arahant Bhikkhunis led by Mahāpajāpatī, together with the story of the Buddha and his disciples. And even around that, the other stories that are given of the previous eras and the previous lifetimes of these great heroes, and how they accumulated the merits to be reborn and to have this this particular role in this time. I remember that when the Europeans first went to India, they thought that Buddha was some type of a mythical god. They didn't have the idea that he was a historical person. But now we are really convinced, based on studying, with as much intelligence as we have, what's actually passed down to us in the literature of Buddhism, and what actually still survives of the special inscriptions, the stupas, and the places that are handed down, that this is not just some kind of a fantastic story, but this is stories that have arisen around actual human beings who lived and practiced and meditated and realized. Ayya has been working little by little on gathering together some of the knowledge that we have about the early places associated with Mahāpajāpatī and the early Bhikkhuni Arahants. And this is part of Ayya devotion as a historian, to really try to lock down and make as real as possible for us the history of our predecessors and the reality of it. She mentioned that there are 3 places now that are known of and that are being investigated and studied, which we believe are associated with Mahāpajāpatī. One is the Mahāpajāpatī robe offering stupa at Nigroda Dharama outside the city of Kapilavastu in Nepal, where she first expressed her interest to enter the monastic life to the Buddha when she offered the robes that she herself had woven. And that's and then that story is given in the sutta about the highest gift. Then the second place is the royally offered great Bhikkhunis monastery, Rajakarama at Savatthi, Shravasti, near the Anathapindika monastery in Jeta's Grove, where Mahāpajāpatī Gotami and hundreds of Bhikkhunis lived and practiced together. And then the third is the one that we just saw in this video, the ruins of the Parinibbana stupa of Mahāpajāpatī Gotami outside of Vesali, where was once, or possibly is still, enshrines the post-cremation relics of this Arhat. The Mahāpajāpatī and these first women were really like pioneers. It was sort of like making a moon landing, to do what had never been done before within that aeon, which is for persons with their female bodies to go forth into the monastic form and to realize the highest. And in that way, to demonstrate in another way. It's not really the only demonstration. There are many ways that the Buddha expressed and explained the universality of his teaching, and how the divisions of caste, country, or race didn't really apply to the Dhamma, and that at the stage of enlightening, all of those differences merge together and disappear. And Nibbana doesn't have any particular station. Nibbana itself does not depend on being a Sakya, or being a Brahmin, or being a royal, or being of a particular color, or being of a particular wealth, or a particular place in society, and does not depend on the gender. So we find this so poignant in the way that the universal teachings heals the particular suffering that people experienced in that time, and can also heal the particular suffering that we experience in our own day. I'm going to go into this a bit more at the 7 o'clock talk. When we look at the Therigatha and the stories of many different bhikkhunis, we see how the crushing burden of prejudice and the idea that women are not capable of wisdom, or not qualified for awakening, that burden had to be overcome. And even for us, it's painful to read these ancient poems where the women are so much falling into these very traditional roles, as being the one who sews the robe and cooks the dana and offers the dana and keeps the house and gives the house and gives the nourishment and gives the nourishing. And then in the pictures, it's the male Buddha, or the disciples, who are the ones who've got the words and the ideas and the concepts and the teaching, and the women are like portrayed in this other kind of way, and it does in a certain way. It's like it's difficult. How can we hold this? And even in our modern time, there's a different kind of cruelty that's abroad in the world today. Different types of prejudice, or different types of divisiveness and hatred that are abroad in the world today. And we may just look at this example and understand that whatever, instead of on a throne, whatever a pity pot I may be seated on, I don't have to be established in self-pity because of any kind of hardship that I had to experience in my lifetime. But instead, there is this other practice, this other place, this other way. And we only need to follow this universal path to cultivate this Dhamma, and just to do exactly what the Buddha taught in order to reach it. So, here's Mahāpajāpati's practice. All suffering is fully understood. Craving, its cause, has been made to wither. The Eightfold Path has been developed, and I have attained cessation. That's the same for anyone. Only one Dhamma for everyone. And it is a Dhamma which is available for any human being living in a particular situation that we were in, with all of the causes and conditions that gave us this body and this life and this moment in history, just the same way that Mahāpajāpatī and her disciples were born into a particular society, in a particular position in society, in a particular moment in history, a very rich and formidable moment. It was sort of like the turning point of the whole universe, wasn't it? The time when the Buddha lived. And with their human bodies and with their human hearts, they were able to touch Nibbana. So to me, these places that tell us that it's not just a mythology, but that these were actual people, actual human beings who realized that it would be the significance and the value in developing and visiting these ancient sites and doing all of the other work of history and having appreciation for those who are specialists with a special kind of knowledge to investigate history and to be able to bring it to us in a way that we can understand. So thank you for listening.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Ayya. Yes. We also meet your speakers. All right, no echo now? Okay, good. Oh, Richard has a hand up. Okay, yes, Richard, welcome.
Thank you, Ayas. I know that the female monastics are having a hard time in the sense that the established, Buddhist monasticism, generally speaking, and Theravada wants to reject them. But I think it's important to keep in mind that after the Buddha's enlightenment, I don't remember his name, but when he met the Ajivaka, he didn't believe that he was enlightened. And then he went and met his 5 close friends. I don't think it's emphasized enough how close these friends were to the Buddha. And they all initially rejected him. In the commentary, this is not brought out, but it's explained that these 5 friends were, 4 of them were his boyfriend, boyhood companions. And they were asked by the king, asked their fathers to send them along with him, kind of like to protect him when he left the kingdom. And one of them was a Brahmin, and he was the son of the king's Parahita, like Brahminical advisor. And he asked him to go along to kind of like advise them, in Brahminical, religious type things. And so these were very close companions of the Buddha. They had spent, especially now after leaving home, a long time together, going through these difficulties and stuff. So, as human beings, you could imagine what it would be like if you did something, attained something, you went back to tell your friends and they all rejected you. So it's not surprising at this time, is what I'm trying to say, that one might get rejected. However, for myself, I have very high hopes for the Bhikkhunī Sangha because of this very fact that you're being rejected by the old guard, that you have the opportunity not to mimic the old guard, but maybe forge ahead now, a new way of approaching, the Buddha's teaching that will actually result in your own, awakenings and be able to, spread that awakening, because sometimes things get kind of stuck in a rut, you might almost say, you know what I mean? Because it's just, you know, the same thing going on and on and on. So it's a chance to think, like the saying, the modern saying, think outside the box, you know, and really examine the Buddha's teachings very carefully and try to see in your own mind, you know, what it was that the Buddha is trying to teach, and how can I, you know, fully embrace that and therefore, you know, have those insights and things like the ancients did. So, and also keep in mind that initially, at least the story goes, that even the Buddha rejected the Bhikkhuni Sangha. Although to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because there's other evidence where in the beginning he's thinking, okay, you know, when the four groups are fully established, the male and female monastics and the male and female, you know, householders, you know, then I will, you know, leave the world. So, but still, I just wouldn't be disheartened about it, because the truth is the truth for everyone, no matter what. If it's the truth, it's the truth. You know, there's nothing else but that, just the truth. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Richard, for that vote of confidence for the Bhikkhuni Sangha. Appreciate that. And I do appreciate sort of the newness and freshness of the Bhikkhuni Sangha in a way. You know, I think there is a certain strength and freedom in that, which is not a bad thing. Let's see, I see hands from Maureen and Charles Lee, and I see a hand in the room from Patibita, and we are going over time here, but let's take those hands and then I'll have a closing word. Maureen.
This is a real brief question. Were there any female mendicants at all in any religious sense at the time that the Bhikkhuni Sangha was established? Or was it such a novel idea? And the other thing is, I did go around the stupa in Taxila, northern Pakistan. Only I hadn't been in, I didn't know about Buddhism, but we circumambulated anti-clockwise. And I have to look it up to see why that stupa was there. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you for sharing that experience. And yes, there were other female mendicants at that time. The Jains had female bhikkhunis also, and there were female wanderers. There was the whole Samana movement of people going forth from home, which included some women at that time. So it was not completely unheard of. But you know, the Buddha did especially support and make as equal and strong and supported as possible for the Bhikkhuni Sangha in that context. So we appreciate that, but it was not completely unique. Charles Lee? A hand.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for a wonderfully educational session. I learned so much, and felt like in a way, through the magic of video, kind of went on a little bit of got a taste of pilgrimage, and just so amazing to, you know, I'm very touched by the water analogies and metaphors and the teachings, and to kind of see, you know, actually see that is really amazing. So I had a question about nirvana and parinirvana, and it's probably, you know, begging too big of an answer, but I guess one of the things I was thinking was, I guess if I was not a practitioner and I heard about this happening, I would think that this is, you know, the 500 bhikkhunis achieving parinirvana, at the same time, I would be thinking this was some sort of mass suicide. I guess maybe my question is, how does, maybe if anybody could speculate, how does one who has reached nirvana choose to take that final step to Parinibbana? And I think that's it. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, it's a great question. It's a big question, I think. We could talk a long time about that one. I wonder if Sobhana or Ayya Brahmavara would like to give an answer to that. I mean, I can take a shot at it too, but I would invite my seniors. If you'd like to, you don't have to.
We have been spending quite a lot of time in our practice coming to a better understanding of what Nibbana is. This is what the Nibbana that can be experienced while one is still alive. If you understand that, then the Parinibbana is more understandable. It goes in the context of birth and rebirth, and the idea that even being reborn in heaven is not a final solution. All of us have this deep longing to continue our existence. It's sort of something that's like almost bred into us genetically. It helps any kind of living creature to be able to go on living from day to day, is that they've got a strong will to keep on living. And that strong will, that strong desire, then is what can take one to heaven. But even with the understanding and the visionary knowledge that some religious seekers had of having an understanding of what heaven really is, that realm still is touched with anxiety because it's not forever. And so you had people who are, if you love your parents or your grandparents or your ancestors, you might continue to pray for them and make offerings at the altar for them to make it possible for their life in heaven to go on longer, to try to preserve their life in heaven. And so then our existence in heaven depends on having relatives or friends who are still remembering us for how many years or decades or centuries into the future, and still with their memory keeping us alive in heaven. So there's this anxiety about that, but then this desire to be somebody is so connected with that being in a particular place, like somewhere in the universe. This is where I am, my station in life. Because in a traditional society where maybe the different roles of the different levels and roles in society were more fixed, and having a station in life is both a comfort and also a kind of a torture, because it's a box. You're trapped into that station in life. But so the whole process of our path of development is letting go, peeling off the layers, and giving up that desire to be situated anywhere. And when we finally let go of the last straw, then our consciousness is not clinging to any aspect, any ground. It's not grounded or based on any basis. It said, like as a metaphor, you could say that Mara is not able to find you when you're not tethered down to some basis. And so then when the citta is not grounded in that way, then there's nothing to make us jump to another birth at the end of this physical life. We got that complete freedom, and it's just sort of like going along for the whatever many years or days or months are left in the existence of this organism. Then we kind of like coexist with everything that we had before, as far as the material body and the mind that's based on that body, and all of the things that a mind does and the things that a body does. But there's nothing pulling us one way or another way towards any kind of existence. And that's why there's this absolute knowledge that there will be no rebirth afterwards. Whether it is a mass suicide or not, this is a criticism that we heard. Not only the Bhikkhunis, but a lot of bhikkhus also took their nirvana after the Buddha had his Parinibbana. A lot of monks said, well, what's the use? That's no reason to hang around anymore. And they just disappeared from the world. And then, but some of the bhikkhus did, continue on as teaching, carrying on the traditions. And all that I can say about that is that it doesn't, like a suicide is a different kind of an energy altogether. It's somebody who has got some kind of aversion towards this existence, and they think they can escape from this existence, or escape from the trouble, or escape from the pain by causing an end to this material body. And that's like so completely irrelevant. I don't believe that you could say that any arahant is selfish, because their mere existence in the world is such a boon to humanity, and a boon and a wonderful benefit to beings everywhere. And especially if an arahant, a savaka, someone who's a disciple of the Buddha, has realized for themselves and is able to point out and explain this way, then this is what's for their benefit of gods and humans, for their tremendous benefit. And so it's the generosity of arahants to teach and speak about the Dhamma. And then one of the teachings is, didn't you know, everything that arises must cease. Everything that you know that's dear and delightful will come to an end, will become separated. So that's the last Dhamma teaching. Great question.
All right. Ready, speaker? Good. All right. So did we have one more question from Kaccayana?
I just wanted to make a comment. Having
Would you like to come up and speak to the microphone?
Can you mute your computer speaker? No, someone in the room.
having done the pilgrimage from where the Buddha was born, attained his enlightenment, and the places that it would be a privilege to visit. I had that great blessing to go there. And the one thing that struck me is they walked to all of these places, and they walked hundreds and hundreds of miles to go from one city to another. Driving on a bus where there's no paved road is one thing, but walking is another. And they walked bare feet. So it tries, when one goes to India and starts looking at the undeveloped regions within India to visit these sites, one is transported back in time and can very easily imagine the hardships that they endured going from one place to another. So I was quite impressed by not only the distance, some of the mountains that they climbed to go and just meditate. At the Vulture Peak, for example, when you hike up that mountain and you sit on the plateau to meditate there, that is an amazing experience. When you go into the cave where Ananda spent his time during his own retreats, the energy in those places are sublime. It really is. So being transported in time, going to where he actually had all of these parts of his life, lived parts of his life. And the place he died, me, was the most powerful. Being in that building that has been built around where he died, that in itself is the most energetic environment that I had ever been in. So I would encourage anyone who has the way or the means to visit the sites that he suggested.
Hey, thank you very much. Yes, thank you for that sharing, Pratyabhata. Appreciate that. That's actually a nice segue into my closing, which there's one more thing to share here about this site that we saw today. So today, well, I guess, yesterday in India was the 3rd. So yesterday in India, in the state of Bihar, for the first time, they have had a formal celebration of this Mahāpajāpatī Gotami Parinibbana Day. And I just wanted to show you the announcement about this. This was organized in part by our friend Deepak Anand. Again, we're back on his blog here, Nalanda on the Move. This was hosted by the Nava Nalanda Mahavihara, Nalanda University. And so, let's see, let me scroll down here. We have some pictures of the celebration that happened at this same village of Virpur. Here's that tree, I think. Aerial view of the field. And here are the local villagers and some monastics leading the parade through the field to that same tree, gathering beneath it. So the local villagers, now that they're aware of what is there, they're getting involved and they're committing to protecting these mounds, no longer giving them up for building railroads, but protecting them in order that someday they might be able to be excavated, that they might be able to be restored. So we see a number of monastics here, including Bhikkhunis from the Vietnamese tradition. The local school children with the Theravada flags. The Venerable Sangha members, Bhikkhunis. And it's offering prayers in that same spot where our bhikkhunis we saw in the video, circumambulating, putting incense at the roots of the tree. Group photo under the tree. Vietnamese tradition bhikkhunis distributing sweets. There's the director of archaeology from the government of Bihar with ancient pottery. So the government is getting involved, the local people are getting involved. Here's our friend Deepak with Dr. Harsh Kumar, the director of archaeology. And more archaeological remains. And so it says here the process of revitalization has begun. So I don't know exactly what they plan with this site, but it might be that the next time you don't need a canoe to get there. It might become a little more traveled and a little more remembered. So hoping, you know, some of you may be able to go there too someday. And remember our great elder, great founding bhikkhuni, mother, Mahāpajāpatī Gotami Teri, with appreciation, with respect and veneration. We can close with that and close by paying our respects also to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Thank you everyone for joining us and your listening and participation and practice. So see you back this evening.